Okay, we're going to be starting here. Ooh, where's that go? See what I got to do there. So just some housekeeping. Why am I getting echo? Sorry about that. Probably, if you're not hearing it, I am, but I guess I'll deal with it. Sorry, we're working on the audio. So, can you hear me now? Sorry about that, folks. There's a mute button on the mic, and I must have hit it by mistake.
Not sure where I left off. So a couple quick housekeeping things. On the bottom of your screen in Zoom, for some of you that might be new to Zoom, you can scroll down and it will show you if you want to raise your hand. There's also a chat window and Q&A. We'll do Q&A during my live demo is open Q&A. So you'll be able to post questions at that point. And we're going to be talking about OneNote and OneDrive. OneDrive pretty much goes hand in hand with OneNote, so I will be explaining that to you. Just a quick background on myself. As you can see, I'm going to skip over that, save some time since I had a little rough start here with the audio. So we're going to go over OneNote. Where have you been? OneNote has been a freebie program included with Office for quite some time, and I think it's been around for a while, and a lot of people have kind of not taken advantage of it or not known it's there or really knew how to position or use it. I include myself in that category. I do really like the program, and I'm finding more and more ways to take advantage of it. So I'm sharing that with you today. We're going to review OneDrive. Key to your sanity, and I'll explain that after I get you understanding OneDrive. I think it will really help a lot. Then I'll be going through features of both of them and use and sharing, and then the live demo and Q&A. So a lot of material to cover. I do go quickly, but this is all recorded. So don't worry, we'll share the presentation and the recording with you. I wanted to kind of give you a little background. If you're on my call last week, you'll know that Microsoft announced the name change of their of Office 365, and the effective date was the 21st. And sure enough, on the 22nd, when I was poking around on the internet and their website, they were already changing a lot of the references from Office 365 to Microsoft 365. So I just want to share that with you, because if we're bouncing around and you notice something different on the websites now, and you start seeing something different on your bills, it's because they're going through this naming, renaming, rebranding process. God knows why, but just thought I'd warn all of you. Some of you know from last week, but this is maybe new to some of you as well. What is OneNote? It's a great little program that is free form, kind of like a notebook, where you just can write whatever you want on a page, flip to another page, start writing more notes. If you think about how you use a spiral notebook, I use them all the time. I've been using them for years. I write the dates on the front when I fill one up. And the unfortunate part is I have a stock of them and I can't really search them, and I can go back and flip through them, but they're places I jot down ideas. They may be notes from meetings. They may be brainstorm ideas when I come up with them. You name it. When I go to a new client or a client meeting, I might take some notes. So I'm always using these spiral notebooks and I have them with me. So with the advent of the tablet and phones, OneNote really becomes a great tool, and that's why I really want to share that with you, because yeah, you can use it on your desktop, but it becomes even more powerful when you combine it with a tablet or a two-in-one laptop that allows you to write on the screen, or has a touch screen, has an integrated camera, or on your phone. It really is freeform. It allows you to capture drawings. You can write on it. You can capture video. You can even do recording. I'm going to show you that. So really neat little product. Where's OneNote? Well, OneNote's everywhere. Microsoft has done a really good job at giving you the app for every device. So you can download it for your phone. You can download it for your tablet, for your Mac, for your PC, laptop, you name it. It runs everywhere, runs in the web. And the beautiful part is the synchronization, which I'm going to show you. Also, sometimes the synchronization can be a challenge, but my goal is to kind of demystify that a little bit by explaining OneDrive and how OneDrive works and how it integrates with OneNote, and then showing you how to take advantage of that. Why OneNote? It's literally just, it's not like Word, it's not like Excel. You're not forced in some kind of formatting thing. It lets you just be free and take notes and free form, like, and you want to come back and organize it, great. But I'll show you how it works with the sections and the pages and the containers and how easy it is to use. So we'll show you the structure and how it works, but it can be as unstructured as you want, or if you want to organize it, you can. And then they've done a wonderful job integrating it with their other products. So I'm going to show you how it works with Outlook, how it works with Teams, and all of a sudden you realize, wow, I can use OneNote in a lot of different places you didn't even think of before. OneDrive. So this is a little confusing for people. So I found this slide from Microsoft to help explain what's going on here. You have SharePoint in the cloud, which is Microsoft's main big baby. That's their SQL-based storage system in the cloud that they want people to adopt. It comes free with your commercial licensing for Office 365. Every company gets it. And then you have these two other products, OneDrive and OneDrive for Business. Well, what's the difference? OneDrive is the personal version, and it's worded a lot that sometimes people get confused that they don't know whether or not they're in OneDrive for Business or if they're OneDrive Personal. So I'm going to explain that to you and show you that, because there is a nuance there and there's a difference in functionality. So that's important. Not to make things any more confusing is now they have they call it OneDrive for Windows 10, and they have OneNote for Windows 10. Again, not to confuse you, I'll show you and demystify it for you, but there are different ways of storing your data and separating the data. So we'll talk about that, and I'll show it to you. OneDrive for Business gives you a terabyte of storage per user, which is a tremendous amount of space per user. SharePoint gives you a terabyte for the whole organization in addition to the OneDrive, and then you can add you get an allocation of additional 10 gig for each licensed user. So I'll explain to you how to try to take advantage of that storage and how to use that. If you need more storage, if you want to move your whole document library to SharePoint, you could. Would you move it to OneDrive for Business? Not necessarily. SharePoint is really more geared for that, and I'll explain why. But what you should understand is OneDrive was developed because SharePoint wasn't being adopted quick enough and people aren't seeing the value of it. So Microsoft came up with the idea of, let's make a subset of SharePoint, give people an easy way to install it on their devices, and then that will give them a synchronization from their device to the SharePoint server. So all of this ties together. You can buy additional storage. It's very reasonable. You can also enforce quotas as an administrator. So administrators can manage quotas by users, so you don't have people filling up your SharePoint or your OneDrive for Business with their personal videos or personal photos. That's why OneDrive Personal is available, and you can buy special or separate licenses and storage for that. So we'll talk about that separation of what I call church and state, and that's in that case. So OneDrive for Business, it's always available, it's always on, it's accessible from any device, so you're not trying to track down a file or track down where that file was. I created it on my desktop, but you can't find it at home. You're on your tablet, but you left the file maybe on your laptop. You're working on something on your phone, so you want to have access to it. It really gives you the ability to get access to all your documents by syncing them back to the cloud all the time and saving as you go. So I'm going to show you what's really interesting is the autosave feature is turned on automatically in OneNote. And then you have the ability to turn that on in other products like Word, Excel, and things of that sort. So you'll never lose a document, and you'll always have the ability to have revisioning. So and also you can do on-demand syncing. So at any time you want, you can grab a file, move it to your OneDrive, and tell it to sync it for you. So you also get the additional benefit of security. Office 365 groups is used for OneDrive and for SharePoint, and now you can share documents with other users within your domain or even external users. So they've done a wonderful job with that, and that's why you really want to start using OneDrive for Business. Basically, it used to be two separate install programs. It's not. It's one program. You just basically load your two accounts. So that's why it's hard when I mention OneDrive and it confuses people. So what I'm going to show you is when you're in OneDrive, how to see whether you're using your OneDrive Personal or your OneDrive for Business. I'll show you how to switch between them easily and not get yourself confused at where you're putting things. As you can see in the screen, and this is not live, this is just a snapshot of my window, is I'm showing you how I am in OneDrive for Just Ink. And you'll also see I have a Dropbox account for Just Ink. Why I use Dropbox? Dropbox has its own separate benefits. They've come a long way in terms of actually integrating with Office 365. So it was some free space. I think they gave me some a terabyte of storage as a partner or whatever. So I figured why not set up an account for Dropbox as well. I probably would use Dropbox for non-critical documents that I got to put out there and share, maybe photos and videos and things of that sort. Whatever. It's not that you can't use OneDrive for business to share with external parties, but if I'm going to do something, I'd rather keep, if some things you want to keep internal or maybe keep a little tighter control on it, I would keep it under OneDrive for my company, and then Dropbox I kind of use for a little bit more sharing with anything or accessing it remotely at a customer site or that type of thing. If I go to a website at a customer's, I can grab files. But not to confuse you, having both does not hamper you or hinder you from doing anything. You can actually move things back and forth between them pretty easily. So don't feel it has to be a one or the other type of business. The difference is you're already getting OneDrive for free. Dropbox is an additional cost for your business. So you may as well take advantage of your subscription because everyone gets OneDrive with their account. So this shows you how it shows up in my quick access. This is my file manager. Everyone has this. And you can see when I click on the OneDrive for Just Ink, it shows me the folders and attachments. And just to start getting used to the look and feel is you see the little blue cloud and you see the green check. That tells you which ones are syncing to the local storage and to the cloud and ones that are cloud only. So the difference there is the file only exists in the cloud, or the file is actually saved in both places and synchronized. Why would you want to do that? Well, the obvious reason is backup. You can literally have things locally or on a server and then having backed up to the cloud as well. The cloud only, if you delete the final version of that document and it's been more than 30 days and you're not paying for any backup service, the document will be gone. There is a retention policy you can set by folder and things of that sort, but the default is 30 days. So I'd just like to warn people about that. So OneNote integration. OneNote allows you to create to-do lists, and while you're in there, you can set a flag for a reminder inside of Outlook. You can link an appointment from OneNote from a page. You can add OneNote to a Teams channel. I'm going to show you that. You can record an audio or video right inside of OneNote. And there's even a dictate function. You may not have the dictate function on your desktop app, and I'll show you why, and I'll show you how to add that. But it has literally dictation, speech to text. Now, this is not the same thing as using a program to control your computer by voice. I'm talking about actually dictating to OneNote, and it's typing what you're saying, which is really kind of slick. It also supports handwriting on the tablet. What that means is it will actually take your handwriting, it'll save it as a handwriting, or it can convert it to text for you. It does a really good job at converting the liquid ink into text. And you can use it either on a tablet or a touchscreen, depending on what you have. If you have a stylus, a lot of the pens that people are using today have the rubber tip on the pencil side or on the point side, and either side of that, you can, if you have the a touchscreen, you can use the stylus as well. Tablets have pens on them, and then you also can use your finger on a touchscreen or your phone. But we're going to show you some of this integration, which is kind of slick. Quick notes are equivalent of the yellow sticky notes. They've actually done a really great job integrating your yellow Post-its. You may be one of those people that use yellow Post-its all the time from Outlook. Well, the great news is you can have those come over into OneNote as well, and you could access them on your mobile device, which is really slick. I used my quick notes for years and years before I got LastPass. I used my yellow sticky notes to store login information, frequent flyer numbers, all those kinds of things that you've got to keep track of I was putting them in yellow Post-it notes in Outlook. Well, now I can actually on my mobile device, on my phone, I can see all my yellow sticky notes right inside of OneNote. So adding OneNote to your mobile device, to your smartphone is really a great option. And then Quick Notes will automatically get saved into a special notebook that's built into your OneNote. And I'll show you that because I don't want you to delete that notebook not knowing why it's there, or removing it or renaming it, because then you'll break that functionality. It's there for a reason, and it comes with the OneNote automatically when it's set up. Using tags. Tags is really slick. Tags allow you to flag things, create a to-do list. You can create projects. You can use OneNotes for projects. You can assign tasks to people. You can really highlight anything you want, and then it allows you to come back and search, because there is a universal search for OneNote. So I think about my notebooks I have, and I have a whole stack of them in my cupboard, and I have to flip through them to find things. Well, with OneNote, you can go back and search through all your different notebooks, and you can search through all the different sections and pages, and tags are one of the ways you can search. So using tags can be kind of is probably one of the hidden gems of OneNote. Sharing your notebook. As expected, Microsoft has done a great job letting you share your notebook. You can share a notebook, you can share a page with other people, and you do it via email. If your administrator gives you permission, you can even share externally. If you're using OneNote and SharePoint, and if you're using OneNote, OneDrive for Business, those permissions can be controlled by your corporation, your IT department, your team. SharePoint OneNote administrator can determine whether notes can be shared externally or only internally. Obviously, there's a reason for that, and that's security and data loss prevention. So, but you can share your notebook easily by sending out an email to somebody. Anybody who has Outlook can get it, can get the link and open it up and log into their account and share it with you. You can also password protect pages. This is useful. There is a note here that's careful, that I'm going to warn you about. But if you want to password protect a section or of a notebook, you can. And there's reasons for doing that, because it might be a notebook that you want to share some of it with other people, or you may be storing it in a public area for some reason. Maybe it's a I'll show you an example of a sales playbook that I'm creating for our sales team, and you might want to password protect a section on there that you only give to employees, and maybe that type of thing. So the warning here is there's no recovery of the password if you forget it. So if you lock that note, you can't call us, and you can't call Microsoft Tech Support to unlock that. So you forget that password, I sure hope you lose LastPass to save it. But if you password protect the page in there, you're not getting it back. We're going to jump into the live demo. Now remember, I go to live demo. It's much more free form, and I do like questions and answers. I did a little bit of an outline. I've been asked to try to not jump around as much, so I get that, and I'm going to kind of go through some predefined demonstrations of some things, and then I'm with the windows open, I'll be happy to show you everything. But let's get out of the Prezi, and again, this is question and answer time. So while I'm doing the live demo is when you can post questions, and I'll be happy to show you the OneDrive versus OneNote, or OneDrive and OneDrive Business. So I will show you that. Let's just get out of the PowerPoint, and then I can move some windows over to this screen for everyone to see. So first thing I'm going to do is bring over my File Explorer. And this is to show you how I have, and I'll just minimize these right now. Want to make sure my second screen is still being demonstrated. Can you see my file manager? If I can get some thumbs up, that would be great. I just want to make sure everyone can see it. Okay. So if you look at the differences, I purposely named them OneDrive Personal, OneDrive Business. If you, I did that to help me not get confused between them. And when you go and you look at them, you can actually see the difference of where they take me. OneDrive for the company has a lot more folders and a lot more documents, and it has my presentations and things in. I have my personal one, and this is personal information. And then I also have this, which shows the little buildings. This is your SharePoint home. This is our employee home document library that's shared in SharePoint. Then I also show you my Dropbox. But we'll come, if you have more questions about this, I'll show you. But the way, so ask them and I'll be happy to show you. But the way you manage these is through your OneDrive app. And I'm not sure if I can move that open. No, that just opened the same thing. You'd have to right click on the icon on the bottom, and we'll show you. I'll go on to the web version. Let's just go to the web version. Okay, so let's jump over and show you creating a OneNote notebook in OneDrive for Business, how that works. So if you log into your Office account, this is what you see online. So if you go to your office.com and log in, you'll see these choices at the top. And we customize it. We put our logo on here. I've added my picture. I've done some of my own customization. It shows me recently looked up documents and things of that sort. It shows me other things. But here's my OneDrive. Here's my OneNote. So I can go into my OneDrive and open it up. And this is OneDrive for Business. And I can say, I want to make a document. I want to make a new OneNote notebook, and I'm going to call it JSI demo. So that's how easy it is to create a new notebook. It's saving it in SharePoint for me. And I now, to get you used to the look and feel, is I have the list of Microsoft apps here. It tells me we're in OneNote. It tells me I'm in a notebook called Demo. It repeats it over here. There is no save button. It's auto saving. It shows that I'm logged in as my account. I have no sections and I have no pages yet. I can come up here and right click on this and rename the section and say section 1 OneNote. I can come over this page, and when I fill in this heading right here, I'm actually titling the page. I can do it right clicking, or I can just say tips and tricks. Now I'm in the open space. This is the free form area. I can post anything I want here. If I want to, I can insert audio. And now it's going to be recording. It asked me to allow my microphone, and now it's recording me, and it's storing what I'm saying right this minute. You can see up here, it's got 7 seconds so far of what it's taken of me recording, saying I can do an audio recording. I can hit stop. And now I have an audio recording that I can actually label. I can add text to it, alternate text. Now this is not dictation, this is just audio recording. But I just created an audio recording. That's how easy it is to, so if you're a doctor, lawyer, and you like to do dictation, or you're writing, maybe you write books and you want to verbalize your ideas and save the audio recording, you want to give some verbal directions, this is a wonderful tool built right into the system. As you can see, all I had to do is click audio, and I was able to insert audio. You can insert pictures. If you're on your phone, if you want to pull them for a file, you can insert a file. So I can say, okay, let's go insert a file. And there's two types. I can do it as attachment or actual printout. If I do it as a printout, it's going to actually show the document. So let's do it as a printout, and we're going to choose a file. And we're going to come up to our Just Solutions, the employee home. We're going to go in training materials, and I'm going to grab the OneNote tips and tricks PDF that I have for everybody. And I'm going to load that in here. And it's going to go build it, and it's going to drop it in here for me. There it is. It actually has the label of it, and it's its own container, and I can move it around. This audio, this is a container, this is a container. They can get moved around. I can say, well, let's create another, I think we should create another page called audio. So I'm going to call another one called audio recordings. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to say, you know what? I want to move this to a new page. So I'm going to move it. And I'm going to drop it in over here. So now, whoop, I didn't do it, did I? Yeah, did I do it? No, I didn't. Let's try it again. I gotta move. Sorry about that. Murphy. I'll do the cut and paste. Sorry about that. But you can take parts and move the document over here. In that case, the audio recording. Didn't do it exactly the way I wanted. I actually want to move the container. But you can move things between sections, and you can come back and add a new section. You can name these any way you want, and you can change the colors. You don't like that color, you can change the section color and get a different color. You can color coordinate things as you like. You can also pick up any kind you want. You can then have you can, just by putting in here, you can change the name of that section. So, and you can have pages upon pages and sections upon sections. And we're, again, in the notebook called demo. So let's just go open up more notebooks just so you can see what that looks like. So let's go and say, let's open, let's go home, and we can, now, let me go back to, no, let me show you how to open it inside a program. You can actually open it in the app. So here I'm doing it on the web. If you're like this, where I'm on your desktop, I can say turn around and open it in the full app, and I can pick the app and it will open it in OneNote. It brought it to the other window, so let me bring it over here. So the first demo I created, that book I created was directly from within OneDrive, and I opened it. Now I opened it literally locally, and here I am in the demo book. I can go and look at all my other notebooks. While you know, I've got all these others I can open. Now I'm opening my sales playbook. I have 3 notebooks here that I can switch between. So you can open and close notebooks. You can switch between them, switch between your sections. Okay. And you can close this window down to give you more real estate and go full page. And if you turn on and download the dictate module, you can actually do dictation. And you can create a new container, and we'll go in and say what language we're using and what dialect, and it will start taking anything I say and converting it to text. I don't know if you think that's cool, but I do. And I click on it and stopped it. The desktop app is more powerful than the web app, but not by a lot. They're constantly improving its capabilities. There are some limitations which you can't do in the web app, but again, that's really because of what you can do with an application program versus writing something in HTML5 and that type of thing. So yeah, there is some differences, but nothing that would really be a kind of like a killer in terms of not being able to use it. Still a lot of flexibility in what you can do with the web app versus the desktop app. You can jump between the products, as you can see I am, and I can literally come back over to my mobile app. I can open up on my mobile app my OneNote, and then I can even be updating and adding to this notebook from my mobile app. And that's really kind of the power of this system, is the fact that while I'm doing this, I am literally jumping around from devices. So I go into the sections on my phone, and we have nothing in the OneDrive, and I can say and look at that. You're seeing that on the screen on the demo. I'm typing that in and fixing that from my mobile device. So it's as real time as you can get. So I type pics from home, not on my keyboard, but on my Android phone. This supports Android, supports iOS across the board. So I've showed you dictation. I showed you recording audio. You can give yourself more real estate by on the full program by showing the ribbon or not showing the ribbon. So you can actually show the full ribbon or not. This is the ribbon of the commands. You can save pictures to it, videos, put links in there. Tags, let's show you some tagging. Tagging is really slick. You come in here and you can tag something and you can start building a to-do list. Making a shopping list. And now you've created to-do list that you can check and uncheck. You can come over and flag something as important so you don't forget it. You can highlight things and say, let's highlight that. And when you do these tags and you build all these, then these become an option for searching. To search notes, you just use this magnifying glass. So you can search across your notebook and your sections by using the search, or the keyboard shortcut of Control E. That's your shortcut. That will be in the tips and tricks. Yes, you absolutely can use the @mention in like you do in OneNote. You can use that for mentioning people in your documents, and you can actually tag people. You can tag a picture using that, and it will search and it'll make it available. Let's jump over to Teams real quick for some of you that were on my Teams demo. If I open up Teams, let's get to I'll bring Teams over here. I can click on the plus sign here. So now I have Teams open, and I'm going to add a notebook to Teams. So I'm going to hit plus, and there is OneNote. And OneNote's going to come back and say, well, what notebook do you want to add? And it's fetching my notebooks. It has built one for you automatically. Every channel, every team gets a notebook. So I can take that general channel and I can link the JSI sales team notebook, and everybody that's a member of that team automatically has permission to this new notebook that I just created. It puts the notebook automatically in read-only mode, but I literally just created a new notebook, and then I can start adding and building it. And now I have new sections, new pages, or whatever, and this notebook is a brand new one linked to my Teams. So if I go into Teams, I have that new notebook attached inside of Teams. There it is. As a new tab on here. So then everyone that has permissions to that team, that's a member of this team, if I come up to here and I look at the membership and I say manage my team and I see who members are, all these people that are in the sales team have access to that new team book I created. That's how easy to create a notebook. Now, that notebook is accessible outside of it. So if I go back to OneNote, I can come back and I can get out of, well, there's my get my notebooks, and I can go find my other ones, and I can close this one. I can right click and say, close this notebook. I don't want this open. Let's go look at new notebooks. And it's going to show me a brand new one that I just created today called the JSI Sales Team Notebook. It shows me where it is as well. It shows me that it's stored in SharePoint, and it shows me the team. It shows me the team site. So each team gets a notebook. So yes, the at mention works. You can access the notebook and update your notebook from your tablet, from your phone. This is all real time, that type of thing. Let's see what else questions we have. How do you just write a note? You just type, or you handwrite. If you are in this section, let's go try it. I know you can't see this, but I'm switching to another tablet I have sitting here. That's actually a tablet, so I can actually do handwriting. But you can literally just start typing. Give the section name. And you just start typing. And that's a new container. So then you can create other ones. And then you can move them around. You can go back and add to them. You can format them. You can change them any way you want. And you can do the same thing. I'm going to go open a new notebook. While I'm doing this, any other questions? Let's see. Dave, can you describe when you would use SharePoint Library versus JSI OneDrive for Business? They kind of are the same. OneDrive for Business is really part of the SharePoint library. I think I would try to build SharePoint for all the corporate system where, boy, it's kind of tough because they're kind of one and the same, and they're kind of a subset of each other. So when you're working inside of SharePoint, you can see all the OneDrive stuff. Trying to think of other ways that I'm working through, trying to figure out how I want to do it. We are moving our company share. If a lot of you were used to use the small business system, we've learned and we were using that company share that small business server used to give us. We're trying to move that small business server to SharePoint and build that structure there. I think I would use OneDrive for Business more for syncing between my local machine and the cloud, and I would probably use SharePoint as more as a syncing control of my server. I guess that would be the way I would answer that question. Yep. So the idea with OneNote is you can take notes just like a paper notebook. So the new tablets are 2-in-1 laptops that allow you to write on them would be a great thing to have in a meeting. It's what I'm trying to move away from. Instead of taking notebooks with me, I'm going to try to do it in a tablet. I have forgotten my notebook at customer sites. Once I had a customer had to mail it to me because it was out of town. And sometimes those notebooks have passwords in them or other things that maybe I shouldn't be putting in them, that's not such a good thing. So you are giving yourself better security by not having it in a paper form. So I am definitely moving away from the paper notebook and using it. And yeah, going between desktop and web app, it's all saved in the same place. And depending upon whether you're doing cloud only or you're syncing, it will sync back and forth between them. There may be third-party apps for transcription of taking an audio something and having converted from audio to text, but the dictation is done live. But there's probably a third-party app that you could get that would take an audio recording and convert it for you. But I'd have to do some digging for that. But as a built-in system, you can record the audio and just save it. You could do dictation, which is real time, or you can have a video that you record. But to do that conversion, probably be a third-party product that you would want to add for that. Yeah, so the other thing, it shows you up here that in the screen that it says saved. Let me turn on this. I found this little tool. I thought it was kind of cool. So you can see, oh, it's not moving very well. Kind of sluggish. I was going to show you the highlight here, but it shows that the notebook has been saved. What I wanted to show you in your full programs now, let me just open up Word. Oh, it brought it on my other screen. Let me move it back for you just to show you a quick thing. So if I have Word, this is the new Word, and I open up a blank document. Look right up here at the corner. You see autosave? If you see autosave up here, if you turn that on, it's going to ask you where you want to save it. So it'll automatically start saving the document either in my personal or the business. It shows I'm not signed in on my personal, which is not a big deal. I can sign in. But it's saying, where do you want to save your changes? So I like using autosave. I hate losing documents. I'm working on them. I don't want to forget to save them as I'm going. So I literally can just do this. I give it a name. And now I have a document. And it's auto-saving it. I don't have to worry about hitting save. Anything I type here, and I don't have to worry about losing it. Oop. Hey, this is Grammarly. I talked about this before. This is one of my plugins I really like. So I'll open Grammarly and it comes over and says, hey, you know, that's wrong. Correct your spelling, Dave. Oh, it's like that? Okay, thank you. Now I don't have to look like a dope. I love Grammarly, so I use that all the time. It fixes my grammar. It does my spelling check. It's one of my favorite plugins, as you can see for I've talked about that before in the office tips and tricks. But look, I turn on autosave, and up on the ribbon here on the blue ribbon, you see that the document is being saved right now, and it will, because I haven't typed in a little bit, it will get saved, and then it'll come back and say saved, so I know it's all good. So real-time saving. Once I do that, if I jump over to OneDrive and I come look, where did I save it? I forget already. Documents. No, I like how I did that already. Let's see. Go back to Word. Where did I save it? Hit info. The document is saved. Come on, Dave. Letter Trump. OneDrive. Letter to Trump. So it's right in the main folder there. Notice the little eyelash. If you can see that little eyelash, that tells you it's a new file. Notice it shows the new notebook, the one it shows that I created. It has a little end there. That has a little eyelash. That's the little symbol show you that's a new document that was created. What other questions? You guys have great questions. Yeah, screen capture is a great feature. It has the ability to grab snips and take screenshots. You can take any document and display it in here. You can type freeform in here. You can turn around and make this a checklist if you want. You could come in and tag something if you want. You can drop in PDFs. What's really cool is if I was a student, and by the way, this is great for college students or your high school students, if you get them a tablet, they could take a picture of the professor's board and then they can mark it up right in OneNote. So they could take that picture and then they can mark it up by using the pen feature. So you can actually do the drawing and pick a pen, pick a highlighter, and you could highlight whatever you wanted and say, well, this is really important. And you could highlight that. And it's going to save that, unfortunately. I got to tell it to, I better delete that highlight. I deleted the color, not the highlight. But you literally have the ability to take a PowerPoint, mark it up, take a picture, mark it up, and then share that marked up document with anybody you want. And it does do version control. So if you screw something up, you can go back and find the previous version, which is always nice too. It can do math. If you created a new page and needed to do some math, and you can tell it to start writing your equation in ink or type it on the keyboard, you can select your equation and then it will do the math for you. Talk about helping your kids in school doing their math. I don't know how many teachers would appreciate that, but it does allow you to do math as well. So I just thought I'd share and show you some of that. What other questions people had? So saving documents locally is problematic. We've never been a fan of people saving their things locally. So what you can do is you can on your PC you can go to your documents folder and you can highlight this and say I want these documents, these folders. I'm going to highlight them and I can save them and send them to my OneDrive, to my SharePoint, that type of thing. So you can move folders and save folders to the cloud, and then you're now syncing them. So you can move and send documents to your shared drive. So saving things locally, if it's not being backed up, is a bad idea. So that's kind of why you would want to do the synchronization. You'll have your notes locally if you're doing the syncing. You will have your notes local. There is the biggest format change was from 2007, but 2010, 2010 Note, OneNote version 2010, 2013, 2016 are all the same format. 27 can be converted using the desktop app. You can convert a older format if you happen to go back as far as 2007 when it came out, 2003, 2007, then you do have the ability to convert those older formats to the newer format. If you were in Teams, someone asked this kind of a question back to last week's Teams, but if you're in Teams and you want to do a poll, if I wanted to do a poll here, I can just come in and come right in here and open this up, and I can add a subject, and then I can actually click on here. Let's see, I want to do over here, and I can do a form, and I can instantly create a new poll. And now I instantly created a poll right inside of Notes, right inside of Teams for that channel, and everyone will see this. That's a member of this group in this channel, and they'll be asked, what do they want for lunch, type of thing. So you can quickly create polls. I like Poly. The reason I use Poly is because I get the ability, and you can add Poly very easily, but the reason I added Poly is if you want to do things anonymously, you want to set a time limit on the poll, it comes up with a lot more features and functions. So that's why Poly is a little bit better. That's why people make these add-ons. They add a little more features to it. So this is a little poll I did just with forms, but I could also do plus and say, let's do a Poly one. And then I can go in and add a poll from Poly as well. This is another thing I want to show you is when you are in Teams and we have this form here. Here, look, create a Poly poll, create a new poll. When I'm down here in this section, it shows you can do the @dimension, but if you double click on the format button, it expands, and you can create a bold subject. You can do more formatting. You can actually drop in links. You can highlight. You can do all kinds of things in your message, and then you can cross post to multiple channels. So you can turn around and say, I want to post this to other channels, and I want to post it to the JDS group. I want to post it to the well, it's already in the sales team. I can post it to the service team. And now I'm cross-posting a message across multiple channels. So someone asked me that question. What other questions we got here? Sure. Explain more about SharePoint and OneDrive. SharePoint is a website that Microsoft gives you for an intranet. So you get a internal intranet, and each team is a sub-site. OneDrive's included in that for storage of your folders and files, but it allows you to build a whole structure for your site, and you can launch applications from there. You can do employee manuals on there. You can do any kind of document sharing, you name it. OneNote, I'm working on my sales playbook. I'm building that in OneNote and sharing it in Teams. But I was just thinking, we just got an employee handbook done. That employee handbook can completely get converted into a OneNote document with sections and pages, and then it could be put literally right up on SharePoint for anyone to have access to it, and they could search for it. So if you want to search for PTO, you would put PTO in there, and it'll take you right to that section, that page, and explain you PTO. So you get that universal search. So instead of having it in a Word document or PDF document that you have to open, I figured do it right inside of a notebook. And you could print the page if you wanted. You could print the section if you wanted. So I see a lot of functionality there. But SharePoint is a website. It's a SQL-based website that Microsoft gives you, and you can put calendars in there from Outlook. You can share calendars. You can do a lot of different things in your SharePoint site. So that's kind of the bigger difference. So if I go to the employee home and not one of the these are all the subgroups. If I go to the employee home in SharePoint, this is what we have. This shows people's vacation schedule. This shows our on-call calendar, who's on call this week. This shows who's got on call this week. So that's how we use this. And what's beautiful about it is you don't have to be connected to an internal corporate server to get to this. This is in the cloud. So you can, I literally say, oh, who's on call tonight? I can go on my phone, jump to our site, our Justin SharePoint site. Look at the name of it. Microsoft gives you this. This is hosted by Microsoft. So you have a website hosted by Microsoft with all this storage and all this space and all this reliability and redundancy, and you're not really paying any extra for it. So it's another really great benefit built in there. And as you can see, we personalized it a little bit by putting our logo on here and kind of doing our company colors. But this is an example of what SharePoint looks like. Does that help? Oh, what do you mean by reply in Teams? I'm not sure I understand that question. You can email directly to Teams. This is kind of cool. If you want to email directly to a channel or to a team and every channel has a link, a get email address link, and you can email directly to it. So here's an example. I got an email from Microsoft that came just to me, and it was telling the techs about a by the way, we had a Barracuda outage yesterday, if any of you guys ran into that, but Rich got it fixed. But meanwhile, here is a virtual end-to-end Microsoft boot camp that they were talking about. So I literally sent this email that I got directly to me, and this is what it is, and I emailed it to everyone. So my results are in for what? I didn't really do the poll yet. It says my results are in for the poly poll for lunch. But so it's really cool is say you get an email like this. Yeah, you could forward it via email. But now by putting it in Teams, someone comes back and says, hey, Dave, what was going on with that Microsoft training? I can say Microsoft security and have the thing search for me and find it. And there it is. It shows end-to-end security. So now you got your universal search that will search throughout Teams for things, which is one of the beauties of it because it keeps the history of it. Even easier than your Outlook from that standpoint. So is there some overlap? Yes, but they're giving you the ability to have the integration between there. An example would be why email everyone a copy of the same document and then have all these different versions floating around via email. Email them the link to the file right inside of Teams. Let them go get that file and share that file and update and maintain that one file. Let's not have versions or multiple versions of an agreement or a document or a spreadsheet in different emails so people go look at the wrong version or look at the old version. So that's the benefit of keeping a file stored and doing it that way. I'd have to find out about the colors. Yeah, you can color code things. I'm not sure if it's automatic, but you can change the statuses and you could highlight things. I'm not sure if it's an automated thing. I'm not sure if I answered. Someone was asking about, can you work offline? Well, you can and you can't. You can't if you're only saving it in the cloud. If you're synchronizing between local and the cloud, yes, you can work offline and then it will update when you connect. So that's kind of a catch question. I did want to show one. I put a note here about showing you how to troubleshoot syncing. I know we're running a little over, people, and if you have to drop off, I understand, but we are recording this. So you can, let me get to a document. Let me see what I want to open. I'm talking about troubleshooting a sync problem. So if I'm in a notebook and I'm concerned about my notebook syncing, I can right click or click on the notebook, and let's see, I want to go to there's password protection. I talked about that earlier. Oh, I'm probably on the cloud version, so I'm not going to sync. I got to be on the local version. Oh, yeah. Here's the share button. I forgot to mention that. It's one of the, you'll find this now built into all the apps. So if you're running any local apps, you can take any document, any spreadsheet, anything, and turn around, click on it, and turn around and share it. And then you can select who you want to share it with. It gives you choices here, people with existing access, specific people. You can control that right here, and you can select people, and you can share out any document you want. What I wanted to show you was back here is if you have a problem, you can check your syncing status, and at the notebook level, it shows you the last time you used it. And sometimes your syncing stops and you have to fix your syncing, but I'm not sure why I'm not picking up. I'm doing this on the fly and I'm not picking up why I'm not seeing it. Any other questions? I think I got through most of them. I know we're past the hour, but I wanted to thank you. Next week, we're going to try to do something a little different. I've been doing a lot of different topics over the past few weeks. So we're going to do next Friday, we're going to do just a Q&A open mic. We're going to send out an email. You send me any of your questions and I'll try to research some answers for you and then share that for everyone. And if you have any questions from Outlook, Teams, Office 365, LastPass, DocuSign, any of the seminars I've been doing, you can get to our seminars at justinc.com. There's a button right on the top of the homepage called seminars. We've recorded them all for you so you can go back and play them. If you don't have any of the PowerPoints or you need the material, just email us and I'll be happy to send them to you. But next week, we're going to do more of an open mic and demo to answer specific questions. So we'll send out a little ask form. You can send in any questions you want and I'll work towards trying to answer them for you. We've been getting a lot of good ones and I want to try to kind of fill in the gaps in the from any of the training and tie things together for you. But thank you everybody for attending today. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.